when Germany's brought into NATO, they literally put Nazis, like, and I don't mean like, oh, these guys are Nazis because they're racist, like actual fucking Nazi generals in charge of NATO. So that's, you know, that's just basic NATO history. Wait, what? Hasan, the generals weren't Nazis. They were apolitical commanders. This has been disproven a shit ton. My man said Nazi generals were actually apolitical. Bro, he's like, did they say that they were Nazis though? Like, actually, like, I'm of the mindset that if you were like an artist at the time, and you, like, let's say, refused to fucking pledge your loyalty to Hitler, but you were still ultimately performing for Nazis due to the fact that they would kill you if you didn't, or whatever the fuck, that's fine. But like, ultimately, if you're a fucking general, that is insane. My man, at a certain point, you're just saying, like, you know, at a certain point, you're saying, like, Nazi generals were not actually Nazis. Clean Vermacht in 2023? Yeah. I don't like labels, bro. I just pulled this lever. I mean, we're not talking about Operation Gladio at this point. We're not talking about the stay behind forces and shit. I'm talking directly like Nazi generals that were put in positions of power in the immediate aftermath of World War II, or when you know, Germany was added into NATO. These NATO generals had unusual backgrounds. They served in the Third Reich. Amid the Cold War, 2 German generals were among the few NATO commanders with direct experience fighting the Soviets, not to mention the Allies. In West Germany's case, the answer was obvious but complicated. Just 10 years earlier, Germany, even in defeat, had one of the best armies in the world. Yet the Wehrmacht had been corrupted into the servant of the odious and criminal Third Reich. Germany produced many great generals between 1933 and 45, but by 1955, many of them were dead, too old, or indelibly compromised by complicity in German war crimes or unquestioning subservience to Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. The challenge was to find enough former Wehrmacht generals with relatively unblemished records who were willing to return to uniform in late life. I love the way that they fucking wrote this article, dude. It's awesome. I love that, like, because this article is supposed to go, hey, there were Nazis in NATO, but, like, it wasn't as bad as you think. Dog, look at the apolitical commanders in my treaty organization. Adolf Bruno Heinrich Ernst Heusinger was a German military officer whose career spanned the German Empire, the Weimar Republic, Nazi Germany, and West Germany. He joined the German army as a volunteer in 1915 and later became a professional soldier. He served in the operations chief within the general staff of the high command of the German army of the Wehrmacht from 1938 to 1944. With the outbreak of the Second World War, German Army High Command assumed its wartime organization. Heusinger accompanied the field staff and assisted in the planning and operations of the invasions of Poland, Denmark, Norway, and France, and the Low Countries. He was promoted to colonel on the 1st of August, 1940, and became chief of Operation what is it? Operation Zabteilung. Did I say that good? Operation Zabteilung. October 1930, which made him number 3 in the Army's planning hierarchy after the Chief of the General Staff, Franz Halder, and the Deputy Chief of the General Staff / Chief Quartermaster, General Friedrich Paulus. After the invasion of the Soviet Union in June 1941, the OKH became responsible primarily for planning operations in that theater, and the Armed Forces High Command, Oberkommando der Wehrmacht, was responsible for the theaters. Halder was replaced as the Chief of the General Staff in September. Zeitzler suffered a nervous breakdown and abandoned his post, and on the 10th of June, Heusinger temporarily assumed his office as chief of the general staff of the army. In this capacity, he attended the meeting at Hitler's Wolf's Lair, and he was standing next to Hitler when the bomb exploded that had been planted by Klaus von Stauffenberg. Heusinger was hospitalized for his injuries in the explosion, but was later arrested and interrogated by the Gestapo to determine his role, if any, in the 20th of July plot. Although there was evidence that Heusinger had contacts with many of the conspirators, like all of the other high-ranking Nazi military leaders, there was no evidence to connect him to the plot. Well, he was there and was injured, so clearly it doesn't seem like there was evidence. Like, there is your evidence. Oh, sure. Everybody who wore Hugo Boss between 1939 and 1945 and commanded German-speaking troops was a Nazi. Got it. According to the Heusinger's own autobiography, he published an essay, Denkschrift, which Hitler received very positively. Heusinger made all available information that he had on the conspirators who plotted against the Fuhrer. Like, there's an out there where you could just be like, he might have had sympathies towards the plotters against Hitler because that's famously generals tried to assassinate him, which we're talking about the 20th of July plot. And he was like, no, dog, I snitched on the motherfuckers. Like, actually, I hated those dudes, okay? Are you fucking kidding me? He reaffirmed that he had not participated in the assassination plot since he felt an obligation to fulfill his duty as a soldier of the German Reich, despite his personal view that the war had been lost. After his release, he was placed on Führer Reserve, a reserve army of high-ranking Nazi military leaders awaiting assignments, and was not assigned another position until the 25th of March in 1945 when he was made Chief of Armed Forces Mapping Department. He was later taken prisoner by the Western Allies in 1945. HasanAbi over here acting like he wouldn't have snitched either out of self-preservation. Bro, I wouldn't even fight for, the American forces. Are you fucking crazy? Like, this notion, first of all, I'm out on that war shit, okay? I'm fucking piecing out so fast. If there's, an actual war that's happening and America is like, oh, we're drafting everybody, HasanAbi, time to, take up arms, I'd be like, no, dude. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking joking? You think I'm going to go fucking die for you, America? Suck my dick, you know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here, dude. Oh, my Lord. I'd be piecing out so fast, dude. You wouldn't even recognize the top of the hour has happened. You would be like, what? It's 11 minutes in. Why is there a top of the hour ad break now? And I'd be like, listen. You wouldn't see those ads either as long as you subscribe for $5 or for free with Twitch Prime. You know what I mean? Whew. Anyway, you can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Same goes for Turkey, by the way. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not fucking going out to die for some rich motherfuckers, okay, that are going to make money. And you shouldn't either, for the record. Bullshit. There must have been a decade or two where getting a German with military experience who wasn't a Nazi was impossible. Trying to learn. Curious how that factors in. Thanks, bro. No, that's the point. As a matter of fact, this is where it ties into Gladio, okay? Cold War very quickly started after or towards the end of World War II or immediately in the aftermath of World War II, where the United States was like, okay, we're done with the Nazi shit. Now it's time to, deal with another problem, which is the biggest problem at hand, which will be the biggest problem for the next couple of decades. And that is the USSR. That is Russia. Okay? That is communism. So they had to basically bring up as many people who had a lot of anti-communist sentiment in every single war-torn country. The people who had actually liberated those countries, either internally with a form of resistance, whether it be fucking France or even in some instances, even Germany or any other place, were the the communists. The communists were fighting against the Nazis. So the remaining people that were not, held under criminal charges, or the remaining people that basically had any kind of like combat experience, were anti-communists. And the anti-communists were the Nazis, or people who sympathized with the Nazis, or who fought alongside the Nazis, or in Germany's instance, West Germany specifically, directly fucking Nazis. Now, you could do one thing there and not ensure that the stay-behind forces of fascists and fascist sympathizers gain any kind of fucking prominence, especially so close to World War II's immediate aftermath. Or you could strategically start utilizing those fascists to do, terror bombing campaigns and the like, to cause instability in countries like Italy, for example, in a direct effort to undermine the spoils that were supposed to go to the victors of World War II, the trade unionists, the social democrats, and the fucking communists in these countries. So in an effort to stop them from gaining any sort of prominence when they were seen as the liberators, understandably, the United States basically utilized, any amount of domestic terrorism they could in these countries by activating all the fucking remaining Nazis that were in these countries to do insane shit. Didn't happen, lol. I'll fight for Mexico. Didn't happen, lol. Lamau, oof, you got me, fuck, lol. Still saying lol. You need to retake that Rutgers history class, brother. For us, what if you were our leader? 1991, not all now. Dog? Question mark. For the record, this does not mean that the USSR was not drafting Nazis on their side. They certainly were as well. Operation Paperclip is America's most famous, brain drain, if you want to call it that. Okay. But, the USSR did similar things as well. It's just that, I'm not Russian. I am American. No, they didn't. They didn't hire them, but definitely made them work for them. The Soviets didn't give them suburban life in Maine, though. I don't know enough. I actually don't know enough about like the comfortable existence of Nazi scientists and whatnot in the USSR. But I think, yeah, this is what I was thinking of as well. I'll give you one example. They did not want to they wanted to try the Japanese war criminals. The USSR did. America was like, no, we're not doing that. Shut the fuck up. We need access to their incredibly valuable information in biological warfare, in germ warfare. Like 100%. Like the Russian side absolutely was more interested in at least like investigating and prosecuting, whereas the American side very deliberately was like, no, we're gonna take fucking all the chemical weapons that they fucking used, and we're gonna use them later against the USSR. Did the USSR put Nazis in charge of the army? No, then it's not the same, bro. The head of the NATO is a former Nazi. No, I know. I'm just giving you. I'm giving you an accurate assessment, okay, of what happened. It's ridiculous to, I'm just openly stating what happened, okay? Don't get fucking mad at me. Get mad at history. The USSR took a much more forced labor approach than the Americans. Only in a small percentage of cases, Nazis who had shown that they had literally re-educated, did they ever really free a Nazi. In Turkey, too, most infamously, the CIA literally used past Nazis to train the Grey Wolves in Turkey. People like Ibrahim Kaypak were tortured to death during these operations. So the chat, the CIA utilized the Nazis as goals were aligned. Yeah, 100%. Grey Wolves, the ultra-nationalist party in the current leadership government, has direct roots to NATO and Nazi involvement. Anyway. I can't believe we just deep dove into this part of history, which is very odd that like people are completely oblivious to. No, America like didn't even put forward an effort to like re-educate these people. They just straight up were like, no, it's great. Thank you. We love your scientific research. Your scientific contributions will be utilized, possibly in Korea. To be fair, the USSR had a neutrality pact with Imperial Japan that lasted until 5 minutes before Japan surrendered. To imply the USSR was more forceful against Japan, not Germany, is kind of disingenuous in my opinion. No, the USSR did absolutely try to investigate and try in a court of law people like people that were involved in like the unit specifically in China. Whereas America sheltered them from said investigation very openly. And we're like, fuck no. Unit 731, yes. We're not doing that because we need the juicy tidbits and the juicy information that they have. Anyway, however, the USSR also utilized Nazi scientists, as I correctly told you, okay? Wait, I know Unit 731 is Japanese, chatters. I'm saying what Japanese soldiers did in China is what I meant. Manchuria, specifically. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know what you're correcting. I'm talking about what Japan did in China to Chinese people. Oh, she's pressing buttons. Calm down. No. Anyway, guys, love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.